Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS College Football. We are into Week 6. Got a good SEC matchup here for Saturday. Missouri on the road at Kyle Field to play Texas A&M. Let's go.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
All right, like I said, Mizzou's on the road for this one. Looks like it's dropping to 1.5. It was at 2. You still can get 2s. Texas A&M looking like a short home favorite. Total sitting at 48.5. Pretty much across the board there. So let's get into this one. And both of these teams coming off wins. Missouri's win was 2 weeks ago. They're coming off a bye. Neither team covered. Texas A&M was laying 5.5 or 5, I believe, in that game against Arkansas. Mizzou was laying a pretty big number. Didn't cover against Missouri. So both teams win. Neither team covers. So what do we think about this matchup? Well, the Missouri offense so far this season has been, I don't want to say disappointing because it's been good. I mean, their last 2 games, that was the first time they saw Power 4 opponents, Vanderbilt and Boston College. Neither team has a particularly great defense. Missouri averaging 28.5 points per game, 40.3% success rate. I mean, 5.88 yards per play. That's not bad. But we came into this season expecting Missouri to be one of the most explosive offenses in the entire country, one of the most explosive offenses in the SEC. We really haven't seen that yet. The bright spot for Missouri the last 2 games has been Nate Noel running the football. 46 carries, 320 yards, 6.96 yards per carry, averaging almost 7 yards per carry in his last 2 games. Here's the problem. I don't think that's going to be there in this one on the road at Kyle Field. I mean, Texas A&M's been playing great defense against the run this season. In the last 3 games, they're allowing just 3.09 yards per carry. Keep in mind, Mike Elko is coaching this defense, and we know what he did with Duke last year. Duke had one of the best run defenses in the ACC under his tenure, and that's with Duke's talent. So we know Mike Elko knows how to shut the run game down. So Nate Noel's been killing it for Missouri. I don't think the run game is going to be there necessarily in this road game against Texas A&M, which means the pressure is going to be on Brady Cook to produce. And we really haven't seen it yet. I mean, I'm not going to say he's off to a bad start, but I'd say he's off to an underwhelming start. 946 yards, just over 7 yards per pass attempt, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Struggling a little bit when pressured. QB rating is down. Yards per pass attempt is down when pressured. Again, I wouldn't say Brady Cook's been struggling, but coming into this season, I mean, after what they did last year, Brady Cook's back, Luther Burden's back, one of the best receivers in college football. We expected this to be a seriously explosive offense, and we really just haven't seen it yet. But I have good news for Brady Cook and the Mizzou offense. This is not the Texas A&M defensive front of years past. They're playing elite defense against the run, but look at the pass rush numbers. 66th in pass rush grade, 102nd in sack rate, 58th in pressure rate. I mean, this is Texas A&M. This has been one of the most elite pass rushes in college football for several years. Now, maybe Mike Elko's running the defense a little differently. I can't put my finger on why this is because they still have elite talent in terms of edge rushers, but the pressure just hasn't been there. And Missouri's pass protection has been elite. Top 25, even top 10 in most of these numbers. 4th in the FBS in pressure rate allowed. So I actually think Brady Cook on the road at Kyle Field is going to have time to throw. And although we haven't seen it yet, I think we're going to see Brady Cook have his first big game throwing the football. Texas A&M's pass defense hasn't been nearly as good as its run defense. They haven't been getting cooked through the air, but, I mean, 7.4 yards per pass attempt allowed in their last 3 games. 259 yards per game. Not terrible, but not as elite as their numbers against the run. And I know we haven't seen it yet from Brady Cook, but it's the first big conference game. We see a lot of players get off to slow starts, and then when conference play starts, they really kick it into gear. They're coming off the bye week. I think it's coming. I think Brady Cook's going to have a big game. We're finally going to see Missouri's offense look like the Mizzou offense we were expecting enter the season. So I like the matchup for Brady Cook. Now, what about the other side? What do we think about the matchup for Texas A&M's offense? And this is where it gets a little tougher because we don't know who's playing quarterback for Texas A&M. I mean, is it going to be Marcel Reed again? Is Connor Wegman going to return? We really don't know. He's listed as I believe he's listed as a game time decision again. He's missed 3 straight games, I believe now. Texas A&M has been running the football. 42nd in yards per carry, 29th in success rate, 9th in effective rush. No question, when Marcel Reed's playing quarterback for Texas A&M, they have one of the better rushing attacks in the country. Like I said, he's a dual threat guy. As far as throwing the football, a little bit underwhelming. I mean, he did have that breakout game on the road in the Swamp against Florida, but I mean, he only dropped back to pass 17 times, and it was his first start. It might have been a little bit of catching Florida off guard. The Gators weren't even expecting to play him, and he came in. I think he was 11 for 17 with these numbers. Since then, it's definitely been shaky. I mean, at home against Bowling Green, didn't really do much, just a 128 passer rating. Remember, on the college football scale, that's not very good. He had an okay game against Arkansas, nothing special at all. So although I definitely respect the Texas A&M run game if Marcel Reed's playing quarterback, as far as defending the pass, if Marcel Reed's in there, I'm not really worried about that. For Missouri, if you look at his rushing stats, he's definitely an athlete. 5.5 yards per carry, over 200 yards rushing. Keep in mind, he's only played in 3 games, so he's definitely a threat to run. But here's the thing. I mean, Missouri's defense has been great. Great against the run, 24th in yards per carry, 16th in success rate. They're sitting at 27th in DFEI. They've been solid against the pass as well, but a little shaky in that game against Castellanos. We'll talk about that in a second. And speaking of Castellanos, what I like about that game, well, first let's look at their run defense against Boston College and Vanderbilt. Those are the 2 Power 4 teams they've played. Neither could run the ball in Missouri. Just 3.15 yards per carry allowed, under 100 yards rushing per game allowed in those games by Missouri's defense. So in Missouri's last 2 games, which happened to be their 2 toughest opponents so far, they didn't let them do anything on the ground. The run defense was great in those games, and I especially like it. Why? What do Boston College and Vanderbilt both have? Dual threat quarterbacks, Diego Pavia with Vanderbilt and Castellanos with Boston College. So I love to see these numbers, knowing they just played 2 teams with quarterbacks that are great athletes. So that's a really nice sign heading into Texas A&M if Marcel Reed's going to be the quarterback. Look at Thomas Castellanos' numbers on the ground against Mizzou. We know how crazy of an athlete he is. 13 carries, 16 yards, just 1.2 yards per carry. Now, there are 2 sacks affecting these numbers, but still, the longest rush in this game for Castellanos was 7 yards. So, I mean, hats off to the Missouri defense, because this dude's an electric athlete. Couldn't get anything going with his legs. Now, here's where it gets to the part I'm a little worried about when it comes to Missouri's defense. Castellanos was actually making some plays through the air. 16 of 28, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 152.9 passer rating despite throwing 2 interceptions. That's not great, and that was a close finish. So if Castellanos doesn't throw those picks, Missouri might lose that game. Look, I'm not going to take this 1-game sample size and turn that into, hey, Missouri's defense is vulnerable against the pass. I'm not going to do that, but I am a little bit worried about it. I mean, Castellanos, he's not the most talented thrower of the ball. He's solid, but he's not an elite thrower. And the reason that worries me a little bit, if Connor Wegman plays, he might be able to make plays on Missouri's secondary, because Connor Wegman can definitely throw the ball. Now, if you just started watching college football this year, you might be thinking, Kyle, no, he can. I watched that Notre Dame game. No, he cannot throw the ball. And you'd be fair in saying that. He was absolutely dreadful in the Notre Dame game. But the truth is, over the course of his career, especially at home at Kyle Field, he can have big games throwing the football. So if Connor Wegman plays, I'm a little worried that he has a big bounce back game through the air on Missouri's secondary. But in my opinion, that's kind of a big if. I mean, he's been listed as a game time decision in back-to-back weeks. Who knows? He might be more seriously injured than they're leading on. We've seen these college coaches use the injury report strategically. I'm looking at you, Kyle Whittingham, where they know their quarterback's more injured than they're letting on, but they just keep listing him as a game time decision because they're not required to give updated injury reports like the NFL is. So they use it strategically. How do we know Texas A&M, Mike Elko, isn't doing the same thing here? I mean, he's been a game time decision 2 straight weeks. Here he is, 3rd straight week, game time decision. So I don't know if he's going to play or not. If I'm being honest, though, I think Missouri wins the game either way. That's the side I'm on. I'm at Missouri +2. If you're looking for some trends, got a couple positive ones for Missouri. Mizzou, let me pull up the graphic. Since 2022, Mizzou 7-2 against the spread on the road, 10-4 against the spread as underdog. So you got Mizzou on the road, Mizzou as a dog, very profitable in both those spots over the last 2 seasons. And Texas A&M, it's the opposite. 5-9 against the number as a home favorite, 5-8-1 against the number after a win. So 2 nice-looking trends for Mizzou, 2 terrible-looking trends for Texas A&M. I am on Missouri here. I bet the +2. The way I see it, if Marcel Reed is the quarterback, I think Mizzou closes as a favorite. So we should be holding some nice value with a Mizzou +2 bet. If Connor Wegman plays, yeah, we might be in a little bit of trouble. It might be a coin flip game, back and forth game, but I still think Missouri is the better team, and we haven't seen their best effort yet. So I think Missouri wins this game regardless. Give me Mizzou +2. If you'd like to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, if you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. I'm in the playoffs tonight. In the playoffs. Hopefully, I get my first win here. $150 and this trophy, one of these trophies, go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested in any of that, head over to the website and sign up. Let's have ourselves a good college football week 6. College football has not been great to me. So hopefully that turns around this week. Got to keep at it, man. Last Saturday was frustrating. I had a winning week before that, so I thought I bounced back. No, Saturday was tough for me. So hopefully that turns around. Remember to bet responsibly. Talk to you in the Discord.